Underground Sound Off, the Kill Shot Hour, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Blast Global Radio in Detroit, Michigan. Click, clack, bang, bang, it's a kill shot thing.
Underground Sound Off, the Kill Shot Hour.
Blast Global Radio Station. The station where independent artists comes first. BGR. Blast Global Radio Station.
Honestly, my brain ain't been the same since my mama died. Diane, 38, still underneath the long john. I get half of this bitch, love it when my song goes. Clap at you, loop the block, then come back at you. That's when you realize that ain't shit that I rap it through. No parties, no popping, no club. I got my block out on the way to the plug. What time is it? 5 a.m. on the way to the plug. 6 a.m. got the mask and gloves. 7 a.m. we was loading the slugs. 8 a.m. we took all the drugs. Somebody tell hip hop, I'm uncheckable. I got my gun in the club, it's undetectable. What I look like in a dress record. You can post that shit on the internet. You know my body, boy, I'm too thorough. Southside Queens, I rep the Q borough. Niggas calling me a legend. Just spoke to Biggie, he was calling me from heaven. No doubt that Black Mac 11, Night Rider, Mike and Devin. I'm trying to shoot 3 like my first name was Kevin. You in it for the fame, I ain't here for that. I don't post you, niggas get the cheer for that. Yeah, you tough, but your niggas ain't prepared for that. They gon' rat, so they only get a year for that. That's why I'm dolo, all I need is my mask and my glove. Pay me for showing me love. What time was it? 5 a.m. on the way to the plug. 6 a.m. got the mask and gloves. 7 a.m. we was loading the slugs. 8 a.m. we took all the drugs. Let's go. Strobe like octaves, bottle after bottle. Uber to a short stay, handle biz, no foreplay. Grip like DiBiase, big boy the whip. Chase Sims is where you find me, I'm something like a pimp. Led like the Rascals, on stymie get hit. Back to back, Swiss cheese, your mind piece. Crime wave, no arcade. Fortnite, your heartbeat. Eternal eternal sleep. What I bring like the reaper. Flow illmatic, Rockefeller through the speaker. Snooze on them daily, pure shots like a teacup. Wing Chun the beat, it man and teacher. Reach you with the pole, send my goons to sweep up. Hip hop's boogeyman, John Wick features. Rebel to the rule, step beyond you.
And the name of this track right here is called Oh Lord. Y'all say y'all know love for Smooth Baby. Right here on Blast Global Radio, y'all tune in. You can't do it, so those that tune in, y'all can show us live videos, live thumbnails, everything.
Brooklyn swing, yeah, Phantom on the beat, and God I trust. My brother Val on the link, gasoline and fire. When connected for the street, this must be God's plan. The union so unique, Fuego the track, make it hard like concrete. B-boy stands, chronicles of SD. No tight jeans, nigga, I need room to breathe. Catch me sliding, 4 wheels foreign. Interior shows how the pockets stay swollen. Chain watch heavy like boulders. Look like I'm dancing, I'm brushing haters off my shoulders. Road competition quick the way they get smoked up, poked up. With bad intentions, I'm on one. Belltown boss and my exit is 21. I'm a rough rider, Roosevelt is where I'm from. Here we go again. Here we go again. Yeah, boy going dumb again. Oh Lord. Here we go again. Here we go again. Yeah, that boy going dumb again. Oh Lord.
Smooth mix. Let me just smooth it out a little bit for you. I want you to sit on me. I promise that you gon' love it. But what that mouth do? You put your lips on it. Oh, I want some head, lips on lips. Then I'ma give you some head till you can't take it. Them curves that you get, I'ma drive them reckless. Take all this dick deep in it. I want you to see.
That's right, we got nothing but love for Kenny Lake Black 96 Black 96. And that this track right here is called Black Six Zone. We got it. Blast Global Radio.
What that mouth do before I met you? Won't you put your lips on it? I already know what that thing can do. That's why I always wanna fuck you. Baby, it is so easy for me to always please you. I need you all the time. Damn girl, let me in. Oh, ooh. So what your mouth do? I'll show you mine too. Just put your lips on it. I want you to sit on it. I promise that you're gonna love it. What that mouth do before I met you? Won't you put your lips on it? Just another black mix. Shout out to the beautiful queens. It's Jasmine Sullivan. Sorry, Lennox. Hope y'all enjoy it. Accumulator Black Knight.
Welcome back home. Ooh, you needed time to clear your mind. Said you needed space to grow. Gave you freedom to explore the world. Now you're back, the door is open, welcome home. Never gave up on hoping to find your way back home again. I left the light burning in the window and the welcome back on the floor, so come on in. Mama told me long ago, you love someone, set them free. If that love returns to you,
love for no other
that's the
than
love that's
Diane
meant to
Mathis.
be.
She's from a singing group called the Platters, y'all. Y'all show your love for Diane Mathis right here on Blast Global Radio. We live.
I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you've done. All I know is that you said you're coming home. So come on home, oh my darling, to my love. Mama told me long ago, you love someone, set them free. If that love returns to you, that's the love that's meant to be. It took a while for you to get your thoughts together. Doesn't matter how long it's been, 'cause I always knew someday you'd realize there's no place like home, so welcome home, come on in. Mama told me long ago, you love someone, set them free. If that love returns to you, it's the love that's meant to be. Welcome home. It's so good to have you here. Relax. Take your shoes off. It's so nice to see your face again. Come on in. Welcome, 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 welcome home. True love has brought you back into my arms. And you're always, always welcome here. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. Where you belong.
A lot of people do it for the money, the power, and the fame. Yeah, that's true. Me, I do it for your head and your heart. So if I got your heart, then it means I got your soul. Oh, me. And that's just it. Mind, body, and soul. Some of y'all niggas just hard-headed. Ain't it, though? Ha! Who the realest that you ever heard? Tell me who can do it better, nerd. See, you about to get your fella served. And I ain't even said a word. My first string, offspring, got a sling, smack crack for the streets, fat beats with a shitload of dope, rap straps for the geeks. Niggas ain't got your back cause you weak. Now still, you can run your mouth, I'ma put it in effect. Cause I'm all about that action and cash in the check. Ain't never seen a player to stash like that. Not to fuck up some stats, but to put your wig back when you fucking with my bloodline. I'ma killer every damn time. I'm a shooter when you try to take my future. I'ma introduce your ass to the barrel of this Ruger 9. Don't lose your mind in the mind game. Big thoughts take little thoughts, get lost in the time change. From Pacific to the Central in the mountains, they announcing my name. And I ain't dealing with the traffic cause I'm always in my lane. I give a fuck about the fame, where the money go. No silver pack slang at the Conoco. An individual to roll where I wanna roll. I'm like a pound of kid run cause she gonna blow. I'm in the head and the heart. Hit him in the head and the heart. Hanging on the last limb, begging for the Lord. When I hit him in the head and the heart. Hit him in the head and the heart. Gotta hit him in the head and the heart. Hanging on the last limb, begging for the Lord. When I hit him in the head and the heart. When I tell it like it is, I be giving you the beats. You be caught up in your fees. For the foo shit that you do, thinking you slick. But the truth hurt, you can eat these. Yeah, the beat need a dope MC. But you ain't went blank, feeling gang from the live show. Gotta pat a nigga down, easy working for the trill. Could be wearing a wire, Z to 5-0. Trying to sink his little nose into something he don't really know about it. Ain't no problem to serve him and roll out. Put your soul on the outside of your body. Maybe catch your body or they ready, hell no. Leave him shocked when they my wide. Murder is I be in the zone of my own. You could look at me and see with the chrome. Make a false move on KP and you gone. How you gon' act like you right when you wrong? If you too strong, fucking with the dentist and I never stop working on the job till it's finished. Don't believe in that. Stepping off the rip, I gotta push it to a done. A limited amount of energy, and we don't really wanna cure or need a remedy. A black ski mask leaving the vicinity until you giving you the real to infinity. To Mississippi from the middle of the muddy mow and baptize them in fire, but then I spit cold. Then overload them with wave patterns of flows. I think you better get away, cause she gonna blow. I think you better get away, cause she gonna blow. I'm in the head and the heart. Hit him in the head and the heart. Hanging on the last limb, begging for the Lord. When I hit him in the head and the heart. Hit him in the head and the heart. Gotta hit him in the head and the heart. Hanging on the last limb, begging for the Lord. When I hit him in the head and the heart. Now if I shot and killed you, would I get 10?
Go to sleep, nigga. Go to sleep, nigga. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum in the bass. When they step close, it's shown, create space. Nobody move when it's pointed. Go to sleep, nigga.
Click, boom, fire in the room, nigga. Automatic, set it off, fix it too, nigga. I'm a problem, untamable flame, reincarnated. I'm about to change the game. Stop. He said it, so I did it. Call the dragons out of retirement, come with it. Flames getting bigger, I still sharp and still gave birth to Superman, kid, flames really real, fully dressed, sex symbol, really about my business. Rap out your cameras, be honored to be witness. Greatness is in your face, you won't regret me. I'm more than my homegrown fame, that's why they sweat me.
I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum in the bass. When they step close, it's shown, create space. Nobody move when it's pointed. Go to sleep, nigga.
Sweatshop when the flames drop, so I can't stop. People looking for me to peel while making our shot. Take your fan base, playing with my TikTok. Follow me on all platforms, I really make it pop. Did I hurt the feelings? Need a glass of milk, spicy like jerk chicken, my melanin is soup. Opportunity all day, my bars on sight. I need 6 minutes to get ready, now prep the mic. There's not a booth that I cannot face. Now say my name, put respect on the real one, yeah. Running things, real boss, nothing Willy Wonka. Go ahead, get the taste, I am Chewbacca.
Come on, girl, light that ass on fire. Come on, light that ass on fire. Come on, girl, light that ass on fire. Let's go. Light that ass on fire. Go to sleep, nigga. Scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum in the bass. When they step close, it's shown, create space. Nobody move when it's pointed. Go to sleep, nigga. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum in the bass. When they step close, it's shown, create space. Nobody move when it's pointed. Go to sleep, nigga.
Switch up, better call your quick up. Careful running your mouth, don't wanna lose that lip, hun. Don't let them get you hyped, you gon' get touched. The angels are on your side, they're in the swift love. Hit you with a hit of death, hit them with the left. Are you ready, are you set? This is the get back. How many hits? One. Can't believe that I'm really back. The champ is home, so bout him, get some. Hit him with the thunderclap, bang down on him. Hit him like Sojourner, I'm underground on him. Indie artist here, your bars can rest here. Batman, Ghost Rider, told him this is my year. Bars.
Go to sleep, nigga. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass. I ain't scared of a case, keep the thing go to waste. When I let it off, sound like drum and bass.
Drug beats, baby. Yo. These nigga rappers be dancing and nay-naying. You don't really want it without flow, I ain't playing. Real talk, I wouldn't wanna be up. I'm dropping nuclear bombs like fucking North Korea. Shit, the game is in a crisis. I'm chopping off heads like ISIS, not claiming to be the nicest. A nigga wanna furnish prices. Motherfucker done played himself out. What's that all about? It's all in God's plan, still in popular demand. You ain't gotta push the like button, but you're still a fan. The UA is the brand, we got it in the can. The new Ants clan, teaching you funky lessons. My style you can't mimic. Bullshit rappers with the bullshit gimmicks. Ask Brian Gumble to see this real sports. Come up one, you're short like Steve McNair and Kevin Dyson. Gone, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. You better come correct. You better come correct. Trash rappers better come correct.
Yo, no fake, no front, no bacon. Let me show you something. See, I stood on the block, loose cracks, produce stacks. I cooked up and cut small pieces to get my new bag. Now all these new jacks corrupting the game like a crooked umpire, so I had to engage. Get my hands dirty. 7:30, I'm a loose cannon. Words on my referee and rich I branded. You damage, you might as well twirl around like a ballerina. Your leotard flowing with demeanor. It's got you taking hip hop as a gimmick and shit, and got you fucking up the culture with the lyrics you spit. You think a few change, tight jeans and a boot thing, instantly turned you into Wu-Tang. Never come correct and keep barking up the wrong tree. I am what hip hop used to be. Coyote.
1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. You better come correct. You better come correct. Trash rappers better come correct.
Listen, yeah. Like folks lost their dream. Got shot dead when they shot Martin Luther King. I'm tired of hearing about letting freedom ring. Too much singing, not enough swinging. Shooters down like mega efforts. These white folks think they clever. Culture vultures trying to take over the scene of rap. Man, y'all better stop with all that. Yeah, I'm all about my culture, my freedom. These white folks trying to take us over. Y'all better get yourself together. Armed in arms, yo, they about to come in arms. They trying to take us off the landscape. Y'all talking about one of these skates? Can you stand the rain like new edition? Transforming lives, yo, we on a mission.
1, 2,
you
microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, microphone check. Trash rappers better come correct. You better come correct. You better come correct. Trash rappers better come correct.
Look at you. What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? No. That's not what you think. I'm at the studio. I'm trying to make it out here in this industry. You know I love you.
So much is going on.
You're thinking the wrong thing.
You never know if you'll leave home. If you'll be coming right back, don't say the wrong words. You can't retry. No.
I never lied to you.
Try to say I love part of it. Move to the side and let me live. Ooh, yesterday is gone. Oh, yesterday is all over. Tomorrow isn't promised, so I'll tell you now I love you. Oh, yesterday is gone. Yesterday is gone. Yesterday is gone. I'll tell you now. I love you. I love you.
We begin with breaking news right now where a pedestrian has been hit and killed.
This is Sky 4 live over the scene. Police are investigating. We've got a crew headed to the scene right now. We'll have an update just as soon as we learn more. The pedestrian there has been killed.
Please call me back. I'll see you at home.
That's right. We live, baby. I want y'all to show your love for Shelly K on that track right there. And the name of that track right there is called Yesterday Is Gone. And that track, she created that record for people who has lost their lives due to domestic violence. So y'all show your love for Shelly K on that track right here, y'all. All right, y'all. Now, right here in the studio, we have none other than Diane Mathis. Y'all show your love for Diane Mathis. Diane Mathis is from the Platters, y'all. Who all remember the Platters? Huh?
Hello, everybody.
What you say? Let me hit it with something right there. Oh yes, I'm the great pretender.
Oh yeah.
That was my jam.
That was one of their first biggest hits. Was The Great Pretender.
You know, I love, because I look at the Platters as the malt shop oldies era.
Yes, you're right.
And I grew up on the malt shop oldies era because my grandparents, and my great granddaddy and all them, they listened to a lot of those, classic, tracks and 1310 AM and all that kind of stuff. So, I just grew up listening to that kind of stuff, and I always had a deep respect for that music.
You sound like my son.
Yeah. So, it's very nice to have you here with us, Miss Mathis. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I'm going to let you have the floor, okay? Because you see I'm not here busy.
All right.
So I'm going to let you have the floor.
And
then every now and then, I'll throw a question out there to you, okay?
Well, I am actually a 60s baby. I recorded my very first recording when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
And that was with Mr. Ed Wingate, who was the owner of Golden World Records. And Golden World Records was given a whole lot of run for their money with Motown. We had everything they had. We had Tammy Terrell, and her name was Rose Batiste. Beautiful young lady that had this little sweet voice, personality, just so bubbly. And then we had our own Marvin Gaye. Well, that's who they were like being compared to.
Okay.
His name was J.J. Barnes, and his sister was...
Never heard of him.
Yeah, you got to have heard of J.J. Barnes.
No, I never heard of him.
Okay, well, do yourself a favor and pull him up.
Okay.
He was a
Matter
brother.
of fact, I'm going to have my assistant right quick while I'm cutting his hair. He's going to be my assistant while I'm cutting his hair.
Okay.
Look up, what's his name again?
J.J. Barnes.
J.J. Barnes.
Yes, he is the brother of Orthea Barnes. And Orthea Barnes was quite iconic in the city of Detroit because she was downtown at this club that was packed every night. She was at Doug's Body Shop. She was at a club that was on 8 Mile called Axel's.
Okay.
And anybody who was an entertainer back in the 80s was at Axel's.
Okay.
That's where Norma Jean Bell got her start.
Okay.
She was a saxophone, amazing saxophonist.
Okay.
Writer, producer, and she just started off playing the saxophone. She didn't sing at first, but somebody suggested, hey, you need to start out singing. And she did, and the first time I heard her sing, because I used to go every Sunday night to see them perform.
Okay.
And she sang Private Dancer by Tina Turner, and that was it. she showed up and showed out.
So what year was that?
Oh, this was in the 80s.
I know it had to be in the 80s because that's when that album came out.
That's right, when Private Dancer was out.
Okay, it's a James J.J. Barnes, an American R&B singer and songwriter. He recorded several singles starting in 1960.
Yep.
And
he had a very sweet voice and personality. And he was the male
and Orthea
strong.
Barnes.
Yes.
Okay, I heard of her.
Yeah.
She's an artist too, right?
She was. She's deceased now, but she kept it going with Axl. And when Axl changed ownership, she bought Axl.
Oh, okay.
And people flocked to Axl every Sunday night to see her perform. And then she was down at this club downtown, and she was also with Millie Scott.
Okay.
And they had a group, and I can't remember the name of their group right now, but I used to go see them downtown after work. And they were just, everybody was walking, just walking in the door to see them.
Okay.
And so that's the kind of people that we had in Golden World. JJ was awesome, and then we had Edwin Starr. He started there.
I heard of Edwin Starr. I heard of Edwin Starr.
The Dramatics started, and they had the first song out they had was called Bingo, Love's Got the Winning Hand. And Tony Hester, who was a writer at Golden World, wrote I Want to Go Outside in the Rain. And he wrote
one of my all-time
favorites. Mine too. He wrote several other hits for other people. Tony was a great artist.
So he wrote that song?
Yes, he did.
So, okay, so he got the credit is due to when Harold Melvin and Bulldogs did it, right?
I didn't know they ever did.
Wait a minute, say the song again.
You want to go outside in the rain, remember?
I want to go outside in the rain.
Yeah,
okay, no, they didn't do that. That was, I want to say that was, Keith Sweat that did that. I'm sorry.
Keith Sweat did what?
I want to go outside in the rain. You remember?
I never heard him sing that.
Hold on one second.
I've heard other groups do it, but I never heard him.
Hello, we live, Blast Global Radio and TV. How you doing today? I'm good. How you doing, Jan? Okay. Yes.
I'm the type to not give up, so your people can know so anything.
Okay.
I'm the type to give type 2 diabetes my all. Steglagen gives you its all too.
Okay.
Lower A1C. It's a once daily pill that combines 2 proven
Okay.
medications
All right.
that work in 3
Thank you.
ways. It helps your body create
All
less
right.
sugar, make more insulin,
Bye.
and remove some sugar. Steglagen is used
Okay,
as a
sorry
diet
about that.
Oh, that's
helps
okay.
lower blood sugar levels in adults.
So then we had The Adorable, which was like a little bit of competition for the Marmalade.
Okay.
And we had Pat Lewis, who had her own hits out. In fact, she did a song that was kind of like the mantra for Martha Jean the Queen. I'm into something I can't shake loose. And Martha Jean was an iconic radio DJ forever. She was the first black woman to have her own radio station.
Okay.
So she had
Martha Jean McQueen, right? Okay, yeah.
In fact, all the men in the city of Detroit hated her.
Yeah, because of that thing, because she was telling everybody about their bonus checks, yeah.
She was telling everybody.
Yeah, that story been playing around the city of Detroit
forever. And it ain't no lie, it's the truth. She would
Mhm.
say on the radio, you better check men, women, you better check your men, because this is a changeover. They getting a big check. And the men were hating on her, but the women was loving it because, sometimes the husbands wouldn't let them know when the big check was coming. So that was her thing. And then she was just a very powerful woman in the city of Detroit. She used to play Without a Song every day. That was her opening song. And if you heard that song, whatever you were doing. And at that time, I had babies. So I would be around the house cleaning up, listening to Martha Jean, and attending to my babies. And so that was a highlight of a lot of women's days.
Okay.
And then she, as I was speaking of Pat Lewis, and Pat Lewis became one of the original members of Hot Buttered Soul. It was her and her sister Diane, and also Rose Williams. And so they became Hot Buttered Soul with Isaac Hayes in the 1970 something. And I had the fortune of being asked to join Hot Buttered Soul.
Oh, okay,
I did. I was so excited, and I have to tell you how I got it. See, let me tell you how God works things out. It's never in a provincial way. It's always something that God got different. for anybody.
Exactly.
I mean, everybody got their own journey with God.
Mm-hmm.
But when God got something for you, and that's including you too, young man, when he got something for you, no matter what anybody says or what anybody thinks, it's yours. And it can't be stopped. Because he already ordained it to happen in your life, you know? So here I am working at Michigan Bell on 10 Mile and Southfield Road. And I was answering the phone to an irate customer. And he was complaining about his bill was over, it was over, and it was what was more than he needed to pay, because he said he keep up with his calls and things. And so I said, well, I'll check into your bill and just put you on hold for a few minutes. And before I left the phone, he said, excuse me, do you sing? And I said, yeah, why? He said, because you have a sing-song voice. And I was like, what is a sing-song voice? I never heard that before. Right. But that's what he said. And I said, well, I do sing. He said, well, I mean professionally. I said, sir, I do sing professionally. I had my first recording when I was 15 years old. I have traveled all around the country, the state of Michigan. My mother was a dress designer.
Okay.
And she used to have fashion shows all over Michigan, Saginaw, Flint.
What was your mother's name?
Her name was Lorraine Hogan.
Lorraine Hogan.
Yes, she was. She had a modeling agency, a black modeling agency. She had about 10 black girls, and I mean beautiful women, who were just, they were tall and statuesque, and just, there was one lady that I certainly was enamored with when I was about 8 years old, and that was, her name was Catherine Hamer. Okay. She was very dark skinned, had a real long neck, and she looked like she was a gazelle gliding across the stage when they would do fashion shows. And so I was so enamored with her because growing up as a young girl, my siblings always made fun of my color because I was darker than anybody else in the family. So when I come into the room, they'd always say, here come Blackie.
Oh, wow.
And so that was when my biological mother was alive. And I went to her and asked her, what did they, because my sister spelled it. She said,
it created a lot of self-hatred in the black community.
In our community. And that was my sister. And so when she would spell that word, I went to my mom one day and I said, what does B-L-A-C-K-I-E mean? And she said, oh, where'd you hear that? I said, that's what Betty says when I come around. And I was a very precocious child, so I'm telling you, I was only about 4. And so my mother went into the living room and slapped my sister upside her head and told her never call my baby Blackie again.
I knew you was going.
Oh, but this is the truth, baby. I'm telling you the truth. And so my mother was a very short lady. She had beautiful hair and big almond eyes and a widow's peak like Eddie Munster.
Okay.
And she had a silver streak that went up the top of her head. But she was a feisty person. Okay. I can remember one time my brother and sister were fighting, and she was up on the ladder washing the walls in our kitchen, and she was using spick and span. And my brother and my sister got into a fight over who's supposed to wash the dishes.
Okay.
So when my sister grabbed a butcher knife out of the drain, my mother said, oh, not in my house. And she took that hot soapy water and poured it on both of their heads and told them to get out of her kitchen. And I was about 4 or 5 years old when that happened. And that was before my biological mother passed away. She died when I was 7 on Christmas Day.
And you said you started singing when you were...
I was about 3 when I started singing.
Okay.
I did. And the reason how I got to singing was because all my siblings had beautiful voices. My brother sounded like Johnny Mathis, and he even looked like Johnny Mathis.
Wow. And it's amazing how your last name is Mathis.
Isn't that something? After all these years.
Yes.
And so everybody always say, are you related to Judge Mathis or Johnny Mathis? And I'm like, neither nor.
One.
But anyway, the whole thing was, I had such a... I can't explain it other than the fact that I've always felt that I've lived an anointed life because my dad bought it wasn't color, it was a little 4 or 5 inch screen with a stupid little plastic screen across it that was yellow, blue, red, and it was red, yellow, green, and blue. And that was supposed to be color. So you can imagine people had red faces, if you turned it upside down, they had blue faces. But in 1954, the Mickey Mouse Club came on TV. And so my daddy told me that he bought that TV so I could see that. that show, and he took me to Robert Hall's and bought me some ears, the Mickey Mouse ears. And every day at 4 o'clock, I would climb up on that TV and get my little pencil or whatever I could find as my microphone, and I would be singing. And I see these little white kids on there. I said, I want to do that. But I realized that I actually could sing. The first song I ever learned how to sing harmony with, and I had to be about 4, was Sentimental Journey. Because all my siblings sang. My dad played the ukulele, and he sang. He had a beautiful tenor voice. My mother had a beautiful soprano voice. So it was a natural gift that I inherited from my mother, father, my sister, and brother. My oldest sister, she wanted to be a professional singer, but back in the day when she was born in 1925, they just kind of didn't promote you doing stuff like that. My sister was beautiful, and she said she was coming home one day from the skating rink, and a white man pulled up to her and handed her a card to he thought she was white, because she was very, very light skinned and had red hair. And so he thought she was white, and he handed her a card and said, I want you to call me because you could be a beautiful model. And when my sister got home, she gave it to my mother. And she looked at that card and she said, that's not what he wants you for. He probably thought you were a white girl and so pretty.
Now, what the name you say the record label you started off with, Darryl?
My first record label was Golden World Records.
Golden World Records. And he said they was in competition with Motown.
Yes, they were, because Motown kicked them out. That's right, because my first record was called How's Your Love Treating You? And you can pull it up and listen to it. And how I got with that group. See, when I tell you how my life is so anointed, how I got with that group, Mr. Wingate's son and I went to school, but I didn't even know he had a recording studio.
Now, when you speak of Mr. Wingate, are you speaking about the same Wingates that, you know, the prominent Wingates in the city?
That's what I'm talking about.
Mr.
Wingate had horses.
So basically, you probably know some of my family members.
I probably do, because I'm telling you, Mr. Wingate started Golden World Records, and he had some of everybody that was recording there. And my group, how I ended up with them was because I was taking dancing from Ziggy Johnson, and Ziggy Johnson at that time was the elite dance company. He always had a show down at the Latin Quarter. Every year we would have a major show, and he would train you how to perform on stage. If you wanted to be a singer or a dancer, he wrote for the Michigan Chronicle. So when I got my contract with Golden World, he wrote an article in the Michigan Chronicle and said Diane Hogan's is singing a new tune, and it's called Ouch, Ouch, Ouch. Because he had me doing all kind of stuff to teach me how to, I already knew how, but he was a professional. So he knew how to teach you how to hold a microphone, how to walk across the stage, how to talk to the audience, and not only just sing, dance, and incorporate it into your show. And I had already been doing that, dealing with my stepmother, who was Lorraine Hogan. And he had put this article in the paper. He called my mother because he knew I had a voice and I could sing and dance. He said, you ought to take your daughter over to Golden World and audition. They're looking for a female vocalist to join the Debonaires because they were doing strictly 3-part harmony.
That group sound familiar.
Well, that was the group that I got accepted into, and it was so funny. They were actually auditioning several girls before I got there. They even auditioned Lynette McKee. And it was so ironic. I went to high school with Lynette McKee at St. Martin DePort.
Lynette McKee, that's right. She is a Detroiter, isn't she?
That's right. And she was a 10th grader when I was a senior, and we were on the playground one day. And she said, I'm quitting school and I'm moving to California. And I said, really? Why? She said, because I'm going to be a star. And I said, well, I ain't had it.
She knew it, huh?
She knew it. She knew it. And when she left DePort and went out, the first time I saw her on TV, I was sitting in front of the TV and I said, oh my God, that's Lynette. And she auditioned for the Debonaires, and they said they didn't want her because she was taller than they were. And she had a doll, like a stuffed animal when she came to
used to
audition.
be in love with her when I was a kid.
Oh, she was a beautiful girl. She was funny. She was funny and talented. She's very talented.
I'm like, Bill Cosby don't know what to do with you.
That's the truth. So she went on and didn't get with the group, and then when I came in, and I had been singing grown people songs. I had Stevie Wonder's album Sings Ray Charles.
Okay.
And he had this song on there called Drown in My Own Tears.
That is you know, don't too many people know about the album.
I know.
And then, you know, I found some old jazz albums by Stevie Wonder. I was like, and one day I said I was going to start playing a lot of that stuff on my radio station.
Well, you know, so many people don't know the music business is not just Motown and hip hop and R&B.
Right.
It's all. Stevie Wonder was the most versatile. For me, he was the most versatile star that I had ever had any encounter with. Because when we're the same age. His birthday is March the 13th. Mine is I'm sorry, his is May 13th and mine is March 6th.
Okay.
And you probably ain't gonna believe it, but I'm gonna tell you the true story of my life with him. Anyway, he was on our show at Ziggy's show, and I had an agent that was working with me, and he was booking me around the city of Detroit, and he asked me when I was about 13 who was my favorite singer.
Okay.
And I said, have you heard of this guy named Stevie Wonder? And he said, oh yeah, you want to meet him? I can introduce you. I said, yeah, right. And he said, no, for real, I can introduce you. He said, because my friend is his cousin, John Glover. And I said, oh, okay. I'm thinking he lying, but I said, you know, I'm hoping he's telling the truth.
Yeah, what are you going to lose?
Right. So, let me tell you.
And Stevie Wonder grew up in the number streets, right? Did Stevie Wonder grow up in the number streets?
I don't know whether he did or not.
I want to say he grew up in the
I
number
know
streets.
he lived in Saginaw, but anyway, this is how I met him. So, my manager's name was Cleo Drake, and he said I'm gonna make sure you meet him. And I said, okay. Now at that time I was like 13. So 2 years went by. I hadn't met him yet, other than when he did the showdown, when he did the dance program.
Okay.
So one day the doorbell rang, and in my house, my stepmother said children don't answer grown folks' doors. So you can't go answer the door. So if the doorbell rang, I have to say, Mommy, Daddy, somebody's at the door.
Okay.
So she comes down the stairs and she looks out, and it was a limousine sitting in front of our house. And I looked out the window and I said, who died? Because that's what I always equated a limousine with a funeral.
Gotcha.
So she said, who? I don't know anybody that died, and I don't know anybody that has a limousine. I don't know who this is. So she opened the door, and there it was Cleo. And she said, Cleo, what are you doing over here? You know I don't approve of people just pop calling at my house. He said, oh, Miss Hogan, I want you to know I came over here with good intentions because I have a surprise for Diane. And she said, what? What kind of surprise? So he said, it was cold outside. It was like in November, and it was really cold out. It wasn't snowing enough, but it was cold.
Okay.
So he said, well, put your coats on, so I'm going to take you out to the car. So I got my coat on. She got her coat on. I was all excited. I was nervous. I was like, who in the world is this? What's going on? So we get out to the car, and he's sitting in the driver's seat. And he said, Diane, I brought somebody that you've been wanting to meet for a long time. I was 15, and he said, did you tell me that you was crazy about Stevie Wonder? I said, yeah. I said, where is he at? And he said, he's sitting in the driver's seat. So I went around to the driver's seat. I said, excuse me, aren't you blind? And he said, oh yeah, I am. He said, but I was so excited to meet you that I drove all the way over here. And everybody started busting out laughing. I'm like, what? Why is everybody laughing? And my agent said, Stevie, quit playing. And so my mother said, so this is the real Stevie Wonder, and he's not blind? He said, no, ma'am, I'm blind. He said, and everybody said, well, he's a prankster. He always playing tricks on people. So my mother said, well, why don't you guys come on in and sit down and we could talk. So when they came in, my mother said, well, would you guys like to stay for dinner? And everybody said, yeah, sure, we'd love to stay for dinner. My mother was a great cook.
And I could tell the way you said, everybody said, yeah, we are.
Right.
Yeah,
so she went in the kitchen and started putting stuff together. And when she brought the food out to the table, he told her exactly on his plate, 12 o'clock, put the meat, at 3 o'clock, put whatever vegetable it is, and salad. So he told her 12, 3, 6, and 9 is how they line up a blind person's food on the table. So they'll know what their food is.
Okay.
And after that, when they got ready to leave, he asked my stepmom, and he said, well, Miss Hogan, do you mind if I come and visit with Diane sometime? And she said, I don't mind. It's okay. But you have to call ahead of time. You can't just pop over my house. And so after that, we dated for about 2 years.
Get out of here!
Yes, we did. He went to my.
Oh, y'all hear that, y'all? Diane Mathis and Stevie Wonder.
That is the
wow.
truth. My name was Diane Hogan's at the time, and
okay,
I have
Diane
had
Hogan.
many.
Okay.
I have had many people that know me that say, "Oh, she lied," but I have people that were there in my life when it happened.
They can verify.
That's correct. In fact, I'm gonna tell you something.
Well, you own live now, so
I can't make up no story about that, because people can call me out if I'm lying.
Right.
But there are people that know. The girls that I sang with, when they would be over to my house sometimes, he might be out of the country, and he would call, because I had my own phone. I had a little princess phone that I kept in my bedroom and in the den. And when the phone would ring, most of the time my stepmother would answer the phone, and she would call, because she had access to doing that.
Okay.
And she did it too all the time. She'd be listening on the phone calls and everything.
Right.
So he called one day and she said, I'm sorry, girls, to disturb your rehearsal, but Steve's on the phone, Diane. I was like, okay. And I went to the phone and I said, hey, Steve, where you at? Oh, I'm in London, or I'm wherever. And he said, what you doing? I said, the girls and I are singing. We're rehearsing for a show we're getting ready to do. And they would break out singing. And he would say, let me speak to him. So they would come to the phone individually, and he would say something to them. And all my girlfriends are still alive. So they can verify that. And
right.
I took him, and I was in so much trouble. I took him to, we had a Swedish Day school dance. And I went to all-girls school at that time.
Okay.
And everybody was bringing their boyfriends. And I was like, oh, man, I want to take Stevie to the dance. But my stepmother said, oh, no, if something happened to him, you'd be in big trouble. So she was gone to Flint because she was very popular and involved in the Elks Club because she was the daughter ruler for the IBPOE of W on 1 and 30th.
Okay.
So everything that was going on, she was always traveling with all of that.
I remember that.
So she wasn't home that day. So I begged my father, because usually if my mother said no, my father said, don't ask me what your mother said. Don't be getting me all messed up and involved. So this particular time, I said, Daddy, this is a big occasion for me. I've been telling everybody at school that I date Stevie Wonder, and they don't believe me. So can I please, it's only for about an hour. And he said, okay. So I went and picked up my best friend at that time. Her name was Carol Williams, but she was dating Diana Ross's brother, Fred. And so I went and picked her up, and then I said, you gotta go with me to pick Stevie up. She's like, I thought you said your mother said he can't go. I said, well, my daddy said he could, and she ain't home, so I'm going. And I went to pick him up, and just before I went to pick him up, I went to turn the corner and go back to my home to pick up. I don't even remember what I was going home to pick up, but I went and I turned the corner and hit the telephone pole on the corner. Because my father had a 1957 Buick Special, and it was one of them big old cars with no power steering. And here I am, a little bitty thing. I had to sit on 2 pillows to drive. So I hit the pole, but I ran home and told my father, because I was right off of the corner of Claremont and my street, which was Atkinson. And so, yes, I did, right on the corner. 1256 Atkinson was my house.
Okay, so you've been right there.
Yeah, all the time. So, when I went home, I said, Daddy, I hit the telephone.
So it's not no surprise that you would know all those people, because everybody
lived in that neighborhood.
All those entertainers and everybody grew up in the central location.
They sure did.
So, that's how my grandparents knew all of them.
Well, Mr. Wingate was known by everybody because he had the numbers, he had the checker cab company. He had, well, it might have been Yellow Cab. I know it was the cab company. He had the numbers, he had the horses. Oh yeah, he had all of that. And he was the big shot in Detroit. And the record company was his baby. And he wanted to have something that was just spectacular, and that he did have. Oh, you look so nice and fresh. Thank you. That looks really nice. I love the dread. That's cool. So, anyway, I went to pick Stevie up, and when we walked into school, I went to St. Agnes Girls Academy. When we walked in, he was playing the harmonica. Everybody heard him, and they were running down the hall. What is that? What is that? Yeah, and so everybody looked at me like, she didn't lie.
So when he did clap your hands just a little bit louder.
I don't even remember what he was playing, but he was playing
But I'm saying,
something.
was y'all together
Walking down the hall.
Was y'all together during that time when he did that song?
Yeah.
Let's say, yeah.
Well, he did that when he was early, you know, like he was 13.
Okay. He was that young
when
when
I
he
was
did
17.
Okay.
And so here we are walking down the hall, and all my girlfriends running in the hallway to see what's going on. And then all that next week, I was a superstar.
Oh, I know you
Because
were.
everybody said, oh, she really is dating him. He really is. But yeah, I went to Michigan School for the Blind with him when he was receiving an award. And I'm going to tell you why we broke up. Now, he tells a different story, but I'm going to tell you what I know why we broke up. My mother allowed him to take this little record player that she had to work my batteries. And you could plug it up to the park because his family was having a family reunion. And so he invited me to go. And so being silly and young, sitting by the basketball court, and his brothers were playing basketball. And the basketball hit the arm and broke the arm. And he didn't get it fixed like he told her he would. And she said, well, you can't see Stevie anymore because he's not a person of his integrity.
Wow.
This guy's telling the truth. She said, you can't see him no more because he's not a person of integrity. He did not get your record player fixed, my record player fixed, and so you can't see him. And I was like, but I don't understand. She was so mad at him. She was mad at me because we should have been sitting by the basketball court, first of all.
Okay.
But I was 17 and fickle and young and excited, you know, and I was at the park for Stevie. And his mom was cool. His mom was really cool. And I used to go over to his house all the time, and he would be playing songs. And he would come to my house and have dinner, and we'd just be sitting in the den, hugging and talking and kissing and carrying on. My mother said we was getting too serious.
Oh, wow.
That's true. But when I turned 18, I had a record out, and I was at the 20 Grand, and he came to my show. We ended up going to Esquire's.
The Chinese, the corned beef place? The corned beef place. That's what I'm saying, the corned beef place. I don't know why Chinese came.
Yeah, we sat there and talked for the longest time, and then after that was kind of the last time I saw him, because we were already broken up. But I've had many occasions when I talked to him last year. One of the girls I sang with in my choir, we had talked about she didn't believe me.
Okay.
So, because she was telling me that, you know, he was sick and that she had just talked to him because he was friends with her husband, he was a famous trumpet player. And so I said, well, next time you talk to Stevie, tell him I send my love and I'm praying for him. Tell him Diane Hogan said hi.
Okay.
He said, well, why would I tell him that?
All right, thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate you, man. Oh, you want me? Oh, okay.
So I said, just tell him what I said. Just do that. So an hour later, she calls me on the phone. I got somebody on the phone who want to talk to you. And the first thing he said to me when I answered the phone, he said, "Sherman's on the hoop," which is what he used to say to me every single time we talked, which means I love you in French. And the answer is je t'aime. So that's what I said back. And when he said, "Je vous aime beaucoup," I said, je t'aime. And he said, how you know how to say je t'aime? I said, do you know who you talking to? And he said, yeah, Diane Hogan. You remember that? I said, I do remember that because you taught me that. I didn't know nothing about French then. You know, I hadn't taken no French classes and nothing. I was taking Latin in school, and that's all I knew was Latin. And so we talked for a long time, and then one day my drummer called me, and he said, it was so funny. He worked at Wonderland Music.
Okay.
He said, I got to get off the phone because Steve Warner coming in, and he making a big purchase, so I got to talk to him. So I said, okay. I said, tell him Diane Hogan said hi. He said, what? Why would I tell him that? I said, just tell him Diane Hogan said hi. And I think maybe about 2 hours later, my phone rang, and he said, he was same thing. Sherman's on before. I said, hey, Stevie, how you doing? She'll tell me. He said, oh my God. And that was the first time I talked to him. That was when Joni had him call me. That was the year that he was sick and had to have a kidney.
Okay. Now, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot, man.
Nice to meet you, sweetheart. Take care of yourself. God bless you. Be safe, okay? As a young black man, you need prayer all around you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to pray for you. What's your name again? Ian?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ian. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, honey.
I appreciate you, Ian, man. Have a good one, bro.
You have a good one, brother.
You too, man. All right. Okay, this is what I want to know. I want to get into some gushy stuff.
Oh yeah, let's see into this real quick.
What gushy stuff you
I want to know, because I know how the industry was back then, you know, through my knowledge and understanding and listening to a lot of the older entertainers and, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature. You know, and I could, we know, of course, a lot of artists do a lot of comparing from a lot of the old school artists of then to a lot of the new school artists now. And, you know, it's a lot of things that's going on, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, when you get off and you get with these record labels and they, you know, they get you in these different contracts and 360 deals and, yeah, you know, actually, this basically which takes your freedom away and gives them power and control over your art, your name, usually everything you do. A lot of times, you know, artists was when they dropped these labels, they wasn't really able to make a comeback because the label actually owned their name and
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Now that's a sad situation when the label takes ownership of your name, especially if it's your real name.
Exactly.
So, how are you gonna take somebody's name that belongs to them that God, their mother gave them? You know what I'm saying?
They sign it away in the contract, not knowing.
Because they don't read the contracts, and I was told years, I'm gonna say maybe 40 years ago, there was a book that every entertainer that lives on this planet should read, and it's called This Business of Music. Because it gives you a detailed description.
This Business of Music.
Yes, every aspiring entertainer, I don't care how old you are or what kind of music you're doing, if you're serious about your career, you need to read that book.
Okay.
Because it is a Bible for what's going on with the music industry. It's an old book, it's been around forever.
Okay.
If you want to understand things,
who wrote the book, you know?
Oh my God, I can't ever
This
tell
Business
you.
of Music.
But you
so
can look it up on the
whoever's
internet.
listening to it, y'all can check this book out. It's called This Business of Music.
Because it is the Bible of music and contract issues and situations. Because if you don't have publishing, if you don't own your own publishing, if you don't own your own copyrights, and you go to a record company, the first thing they want to tell you is they want your publishing.
Exactly. And so this is the reason why, you know, I started this, you know, well, I'm not sure, I'm not going to say I started it, I'm just participating in the movement of independence. Independent artists, everything has to be about independent. You know, that's, to me, myself personally, that's, you know, what I gear everything towards, because I feel like we need to own our own everything.
Well, that's a life itself. We, as a race of people, we sometimes neglect to do the business portion of what we're supposed to be doing with our music careers or our movie careers or whatever. So you have to own your own things. You have to understand your ownership. I've been in this business for a long time, but I've learned stuff in the last, I want to say 6 months that I didn't even really remember or understand the importance of having your own ownership. And I'm going to tell you a prime example of something that was brought to my attention. I wrote a song several years ago, and I just really felt that it would be the perfect song for the Dramatics. And because Ron Banks was a very dear old friend of mine, because we started at Golden World together, we lived in the same area growing up. So we were friends. We were like, he always called me Little Sis all the time. Whenever I saw him, I thought what I was doing. If I saw him somewhere, I was going to show him.
What you see is what you get. Was they with Golden World then?
You know what? I think not. I don't remember. I don't know when they actually left Golden World. I don't remember. But I do know when I got there.
When they left Golden World, they actually went to California, right?
Probably. I know they signed with Stax Record at one time. But I didn't really kind of like follow their progress of what they were doing. I was just excited and happy for them, because they're one of my favorite groups. I've always loved the Dramatics, because as I said, growing up and being at Golden World Records with them and seeing them rehearse and going out and really tearing up the stage, that was just, I was so enamored of them because they were so talented and such fun guys to be around. Ron Banks was a nut. He was a real crazy guy.
Yeah,
he was a good friend.
You know, got talk about him all the time. In the old barbershop I used to work with, you know, they kind of like, you know, grew up together or something like that. He always talked about him like,
He was a sweetheart. I tell you, he was a fun guy. A couple of years, well, several years back, this is before he passed away. I did a couple of movie nights where I would sell tickets to, you know, you could come to the theater. The first time I had a movie night, it was over at the theater over here on 8 Mile and not the corner, before you get to, after Ryan, I can't think of the name. At the time, I can't even think of the name. But the movie that I did, the first thing was The Soloist. And that was with Jamie Foxx, where he was a soloist and he was dealing with, I think he was autistic.
Okay.
Anyway, that was a fabulous movie. And so I called out to the theater and I said, I want to sponsor a movie night for my friends and my family, and I want to know what I have to do. And so they said, well, you can sell tickets for however much you want. You pay us what we're requiring. You get popcorn and a drink, and then you get to see the movie. So I had practically a full house.
Okay.
When people came out to see that movie, they were just, oh, it was awesome. So then I did another one, and that was for the Fighting Temptations with Beyonce.
Okay.
And Cuba Gooding.
Gotcha.
And I had it over at now it's, I don't even know what it's called now, but back then it was on 9 Mile, it's still there, but I don't even know if it's going to ever open again. It was on 9 Mile and Farmington Road.
Okay.
And I called Ronnie and I asked him, I said, Ronnie, would you come to a movie night that I'm sponsoring? And he was like, well, what you showing? And I said, well, my organization, the girls that I'm involved with, we're doing that Fighting Temptations movie. I ain't heard about that movie. I said, well, just Ronnie, just bring family, kids, and come on.
Okay.
And he did. He showed up with his wife and his kids, and they enjoyed it. So when we were leaving the theater, I went over to him and I said, hey, Ronnie, I got this song that I really would love for you to listen to because I think it would be a big hit for you guys that you know.
Okay.
He said, what's the name of the song? I said, it's called Lonely Man. And I said, I could just hear you guys just tearing it up. I said, I hear it in my head. He said, well, send me the song. So sure enough,
okay.
I contacted my drummer, who is Locke, who is and still is. If they go back out on the road, he was there like their road manager. So I said, Locke, why don't you take this song to Ronnie and let him hear it? So he did. And so Ronnie calls me one night. He said, baby girl, I love this song. I said, okay, cool. I said, so is it a possibility? You think you might want to do it? And he said, heck yeah. He said, I'm going to have to be straight with you. He said, I got to have 100% published. And I said, huh? Are you kidding? Are you crazy?
Wow.
I'm not giving you 100% published.
100%?
That's what he told me. I ain't got no reason to lie.
Wow.
Can't hear no more, and I don't tell no lies on nobody. This is the truth. This is the truth. Ronnie said to me on my phone, I got to have 100% publisher. He said, because that's the only way we really gonna make some money. If it sells, we gonna get the money from the publisher. I said, well, what about me? Oh, well, you the songwriter. I said, well, Ronnie, I wrote the song. I went in the studio and recorded the song.
Okay.
So how you gonna tell me you want 100% published?
And see, this is what I need people to hear because this same game is being played right now
and
today.
it's so not fair to the artist who wrote the song.
I know independent artists right now can't make a move with their music because somebody else got
on the publisher.
On the publisher.
That's right. So I declined it. I said, brother, I love you, and I really wish you would reconsider. I said, there ain't no way in the world I'm going to give you 100% of it. He said, well, at least you get the rights for the song because you wrote it. I said, I don't care. I'm still not giving you my publisher. So I hung up. I wasn't mad or nothing. I was kind of disappointed. I really was hurt. I said, okay, but you do how you do. So I didn't talk to him for a long time. And just before he passed away, this is the honest truth, it was New Year's Eve night. And I had just come home from a gig, and my phone rang, and it was him again. It was Ronnie. And I could tell he was driving. And I said, where you at? What's all this noise? He said, me and my baby are driving him and his daughter.
Okay.
And he had it in his car, playing it through his CD. And he said, my baby girl told me, Dad, I like that song. You guys, who is that? Who is that singing? Well, it was a guy that I was in a choir with, and his name is Andre Delano Jones, which he did a fabulous job. And it was arranged and produced by Stuart Skaggs.
Okay.
And so Dre and I went in the studio and I did background with him.
Okay.
But he's doing the lead on it. So he was listening to it in the car. I don't know why. I guess he had it on rotation or whatever. And he said, I'm going to ask you again, baby girl, I want to do this song. I said, okay, Ronnie, so what terms you talk about now?
Okay.
But I didn't bring up the 100% publishing. He was like,
right.
Well, you know, I told you before I got to have a publisher. I said, Ronnie, I love you. I do. I swear I love you. And I wish you would reconsider because I am not giving you my publisher.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. And he was like, well, you think about it too. I said, I don't have to think about it. You asked me to do it. I said, no, what make you think I'm going to change my mind?
With you doing that, did it make it hard for people that want to work with you?
Oh, no. No. And let me say this, and this is the truth.
Okay.
I am so grateful and so blessed because if I call somebody up on the phone, like I call my drummer, my guitar player that I worked with for several years.
Okay.
My guitar player, he is awesome. He's such a talented guy. I worked with him with a big band.
Okay.
That's how I met him. I was with him, we were a big band, and we did jazz, and we did everything.
Right.
But I met Charlie Hawkins is his name. I met him through that. And years ago, I wrote a children's book, and it's called What's His Name is Adopted.
Okay.
And I wrote songs for that. And it's in a CD-ROM form. When you turn the pages, it talks. It's me narrating with my pastor friend and a little boy from the school that I was working with. And Charlie did the music with Bobby Jones. Oh, everybody called him Robert, but I call him Bobby. That's his name, Robert Jones.
Okay.
They did that. And so when I called Charlie for this new song that I just did, Welcome Back Home, Charlie said, oh, hey, anything you need me to do. And he came in and laid that baby out.
I know that young brother that just left up out of here, when he heard that record playing, he was like, oh, wow, this is pretty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a nice record.
Awesome.
Everybody, I done got so many compliments off that track.
I
So
have too.
everybody done heard that
too.
track so
and
far.
It's so heartwarming because I pretty much had decided, you know, I ain't gonna be singing no more. I just gonna give it up because I mean I'm 70, going on 71. And who wants to hear my voice anymore?
Just have fun with it.
You know what?
Just have fun and
people
enjoy
are telling
yourself.
me to stop thinking that way, and
Yes,
I really.
exactly.
And the only reason why I said that is because you know, when I talk to some people, they always say, "Well, girl, ain't nobody gonna be going to listen to you. You 70." And I said, well, if Patti LaBelle can still do what she
Right,
do,
she
why
can
can't
do
I
it. I know that's right.
I mean, I ain't broke down.
And I'm quite sure there's a lot of them else that was still living. I'm quite sure they'll be doing it too.
Absolutely. So I just
Aretha
said,
Franklin did it all the
whatever
way
is
till
gonna
she
happen.
got-
Oh, and let me
you know.
tell you that Aretha Franklin was I loved Aretha Franklin. I've never physically shook her hand or met her, but I've been in a room with her. And let me tell you, that experience was so awesome. I was with Timmy, we were a big band, and we were doing the car show, and we were representing Delta Airlines. When the opening night, all the big conglomerates have a space down in, it was in Coral Hall. Everybody would have their station. So we were at the Delta place.
Okay.
And so Aretha Franklin was coming in with her entourage. And I will never forget this. I was doing Deja Vu by Diane Ward.
Okay.
And she stopped,
Love it.
dead in her tracks. She stopped while I was singing. She did not look at me. She looked straight ahead where she was walking. She stopped, dead in her tracks. When I finished, she turned around and did this to me. And I was like, Aretha gave me Oh my God! I was so blown away. I
That's
couldn't
what I'm
hardly
talking about.
finish singing that night. I was so excited because for her to give me a nod, who I just absolutely admire and adore, Aretha Franklin, and I wrote a poem called Sister Rita.
Okay.
In dedication to Aretha Franklin. And I wrote this long before she was sick and going through her transition. It was something that touched me deeply because Aretha Franklin was the vocalist that I listened to growing up. When I heard an Aretha Franklin song, I can tell you, it was through every breakup, every new relationship, every exciting thing that happened in my life. It seemed to me Aretha had a song that just kind of fit what I was going through. And when I'm gonna take, this is where this whole poetry thing came from. And I actually got a chance to recite it 2 years ago when my choir did a performance in dedication to Aretha Franklin. I was asked to recite my poem, and I did, and I was so excited. And so what happened was I went to Thurpo Elementary School right after my mom passed away.
Okay.
And there was a boy in my class named Johnny Brown. And Johnny Brown, as I used to say, because I'm from the old school, he was the bee's knees. He was fine as he wanted to be, 12 years old, taller than everybody in the class, had them hazel eyes and that real sandy brown hair. And he had, like, even before the high top fade was popular, he had his hair like high, like that edge on the side.
Okay.
He was just so fine. And on Wednesdays, we used to have St. Hawkins Day. And so we could dance in the gym. And so we were doing, like, really, we were just kind of sort of like ballroom, okay? Because we had a really hip gym teacher. And the girls could go and choose who they wanted to dance with. So every Wednesday, I went over to Johnny, and Johnny said yes. And we got on the floor and we danced. And then one day, this new girl came to school. Her name was Shirley Simmons. And she was very tall, like him. And she was real cute, and she lived 2 streets over from me. So we actually became friends.
Okay.
But Shirley eyed Johnny on Wednesday, and that was it. She was like, uh-oh, I'm dancing with him.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm saying to myself,